All right. So today I will go into merchandise. I'll show you guys how to build out a stand in merchandise and how to add items. So in merchandise, in Canopy, when you log in, you're going to see your organization and your venue. When you're doing merchandise, when you go into the options down on the side, you're going to select merch, which is going to have the sale tag. If you're building out a brand new location, so maybe you're building out a new team shop or maybe a portable stand of some sort, you're going to go to location management. So the first step when you're building out a merchandise location is going to location management. Once you're in location management, it's going to list all of your available merchandise stores if there are any. So if you can see here, there's a retail store that's labeled as merchandise. You'll also see some of the food stores. Don't worry. There is some crossover between food and merchandise, but you still are kept in your very own sections separated out in Canopy. So to add a new retail store, so maybe I've got a pop-up retail portable that I want to sell t-shirts and hats out of on event level. To add in the store, I'm going to go to add new location. In add new location, I'm going to go ahead and name that store. So if I'm calling this event level retail store or retail shop, this is going to be what I call it. If for some reason you guys call your retail location something different, so maybe you call your retail store RT 117 for accounting purposes, do not put that naming in the name of the location. There's going to be a spot where you can do it for accounting and internal naming. But this section right here, this field is going to be where you put the customer facing name. So the customer is not going to know you call it RT 117 or merch 117. They're going to look at the name on the front of that pop-up or of that store, and they're going to equate it to, okay, team shop or event level retail. So this is your customer facing name, not to be mistaken to a reporting name. So the next step is description. Description is not required. You can leave that blank. I'm going to leave that blank. Product type, you've got between food and merchandise. So since we're setting up a merchandise location, I'm going to select merchandise. Local time. This is the time that, or the time zone that the venue is in. So if I'm setting up a merchandise shop for somewhere in Kansas, then I'm going to do it for Central Time Zone because that is the time zone that Kansas is in. If I'm building a retail shop for somebody on the West Coast, then I'm going to set the local time as Pacific, even though I'm Central. This is specific to where the location is located at. Business end time. Even though there's an asterisk here, you can leave this blank. It'll auto-populate 4 a.m. as your business end time. If you know that you're going to close every day by 11 p.m., no matter what, under no circumstances you're ever going to go over that 11 p.m. close time, then you can go ahead and input 11 p.m. or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. The reason why it's going to auto-populate 4 a.m. is because many of our customers are in the sports and entertainment industry. Things such as rain delays, overtime. If it's a concert, sometimes concerts start an hour to 2 hours late, depending on what's going on in the background. If you ever suspect you could ever go past the business end time, that you're going to adjust it to. So if there's ever that one time where you might think that you could go past 11 p.m., if you're adjusting this to 11 p.m., make it 12 a.m. Like I said, it defaults to 4 a.m. The business end time basically then is basically used to trigger batch settlement if you're using point of sale, so full service or kiosk. The business end time also restarts your day with Expedite. So on your Expedite app, when you're looking at your different orders, if you went to your closed order tab and you saw orders that still existed from the day before, that would be based off of your business end time. So maybe your business end time is actually 9 a.m. the next day instead of 4 a.m. So we've got a couple customers that do that. We don't recommend it. If you went to go open the store at 8 a.m., you would still see your sales from the day before. If you ever run into that issue, you can always close out your Expedite app and relaunch it. But we go through that more in depth in Expedite training. I highly recommend signing up for that or watching the webinar on our help desk tutorial page. But that is kind of a brief overview of what and why we use business end time. Initial locations. There are a lot of location menus that we have here. A lot of these menus, honestly, are the same thing with different names. So express pickup, in-seat delivery, kiosk, quick pay, point of sale, and self-checkout are the 6 menu types that we support when it comes to choosing out your menus that you want to utilize. Express pickup, also known as concessions pickup. You might see it in Canopy a couple times listed as concessions instead of express, is when a customer goes on their phone or their device, they go on your VenueNext website, or you go on the app, they place an order, they're given an order number, and then they go to the location, present that order number, and pick up their items. In-seat delivery is when the customer goes into their app or that mobile ordering website. They place their order, they input their seat based off of where they're sitting, and a runner brings them the merchandise that they have ordered. Quick pay. This is a really cool function that we have. So this menu is not visible on your apps or VenueNext. It has to be deep linked in. A deep link is basically just a direct URL to the menu. The customer can scan a QR code or follow a button in your app if you're deep linking with your apps to place an order at a quick pay location. It goes straight to completed, and then the customer can present the attendant or whoever is manning that location with their order number or order receipt and a countdown timer if you wish to do a countdown timer, or just a generic, this is my receipt, this is confirmation that I placed my order. From there, they can take the products that they've selected and move on. Kiosk and POS. Kiosk is going to be where a customer can go up to a a stationary device, maybe, or a kiosk, place their order, get their order number, and go pick it up from the redemption station. The kiosk would be put outside of the stand or in the stand, so it kind of replaces that cashier position. Point of sale is that end-to-end cashier experience where the customer goes up to pay, then the cashier rings in the items and collects payment. And then last but not least is self-checkout. Self-checkout is where the customer scans the barcode. So they have a scanner that they select on their mobile wallet, or there's a link that you can provide them by scanning a QR code or on their app. They scan the barcode, say, of the t-shirt, the actual t-shirt itself, and it adds to the cart. They check out, and they either show the confirmation page to the attendant, or if you really wanted to, you could do a countdown timer there. So those are the 6 different menu types we have. We do have a full outline of all of our service types on our support portal. So this support icon here, if you click on it, it'll bring you to our support knowledge base. From here, we have a merchandise section that has tons of information about event day merchandise management, building out and creating your merchandise menus, and also just operational information as well. So for right now, I'm just going to create an express pickup location. You can create as many menus as you'd like. So if you're going to use express pickup and in-seat delivery, you can go ahead and create both at the same time if you want. Location identification, this is going to be where that internal name can go. So if you're calling it RT117, external reference ID is going to be where you would input RT117. So if reporting wise, you're going to call the stand something different or refer to it as something different, this is where that would go. If you do not have an internal name, you can leave this blank. You cannot reuse your external reference ID. So if RT117 is going to describe 4 different retail locations, then you need to create 4 different variations of this external reference ID to make them unique across all 4 locations that you're building. Merchant account ID and merchant token. Merchant account ID and merchant token are how you get paid. So when you're adding in locations, Once you've added in your location, your merchant token is going to be something where if you are if you're using Shift4 for payments, you're going to have to write into us at help@VenueNext.com for us to input that token. It should not take more than, honestly, it shouldn't take more than 24 hours, but to be very frank, it'll be way less than 24 hours for this to get actioned. You need this information to be input prior to going live. So if you go live after building locations and you get a bunch of error messages on the checkout page, it's because the merchant token has not been set up. Now, same thing with the merchant account ID. If you're still using Braintree, or if you're using Braintree, if you don't know what Braintree is, you might not likely be using it, then you need to have this information input in order for you. So see where it says merchant ID? In order for you to get paid, this has to be input in these 3 fields. If you are uncertain about what payment or token or ID that you need to use, email us at help@VenueNext.com. Let us know the organization that you're with. We call everybody by organization. So if you're with Kansas State, for example, as an organization, that's going to be the organization name that you tell us. Let us know the location that you built and what you need, and we will set that up for you. I always recommend, and honestly, we get it. Things happen, things change very, very much on the fly. So your client might come to you and say, hey, I want to do a pop-up merchandise section because we're going to be busy tonight. Can you make this happen? We advise that whenever you're building this in or building these menus, I've probably built over 2,000 locations in my time with VenueNext. I still test every single location end to end prior to going live with customers. And we advise doing that because you want to make sure that everything looks correct on your page, everything's reporting correctly, and you're able to check out, you're able to take payment. So always test end to end if you're going live for the first time. But with this information, send us a note, let us know when you need it by. If it's 50 locations that need payment updating and you guys go live in 3 hours, honestly, we're gonna cut it close for you guys to be able to test. That does not mean you don't test. You have to always test, especially if you're going live for the first time. But keep in mind that with large location ads, it's gonna take us time to configure them, just like it takes you guys time to build them. So if you've got 50 locations that need to go live by today, submit them ASAP to us and let us know the timing. If we can't action it, we will let you know. 9 times out of 10 we can, but keep in mind the time it takes for you to create a location will be the same for us to configure payment. So try to be as proactive as possible if you are at all able to. Because we're building a test location, I'm not filling out this information, but keep in mind when you're building new locations, send us a note about the location name so we can help configure your payment information. I'm going to hit create location. So once I'm satisfied with everything I've added, I go ahead and select create location. Once I create my location, that's my fault. I double clicked it. If I go to location management, we're going to see my new location in here. Whenever you double click it, if you get an error like that, just double check that it went in. So my event level retail shop was built, even though we saw that error message, because I clicked it too many times. So now that we've created our location, step 1, location, create it. Step 2 is creating the menu items and mapping those menu items. So from here, I'm going to go to merchandise, global merch items. This is your merchandise bank. This is where everything lives. So if you are, and I'm just going to switch availability on really fast. If you are adding existing items, so you sell the same t-shirt to all of your customers and all of your stands. So maybe this is your stadium shirt. To add an existing merchandise item, see where it says large shirt, it's underlining, this is an orange, everything in orange is a hyperlink. This hyperlink is going to give me the ability to add it to my new location. A pro tip when it comes to adding new merchandise items. When I put my cursor on top of this item name, I'm going to right click and I'm going to open it in a new tab. I'm also going to click on small shirt so I can show you guys how much time it takes to add it. So small shirt, I check the box that I want it to live in. Notice the one above it does not have any boxes. That's because it already lives in that retail menu. So I'm checking the box, I'm hitting submit. It brings me back to the global merchandise item page. Remember, I right-clicked and opened a link in a new tab with my large shirt. I'm going to do the same thing with my medium shirt. Look how quickly I can add my items by just going by the tabs and hitting submit and checking the boxes, or checking the boxes and hitting submit. I just added 2 items in the same amount of time it took me to add 1. So if you're using existing items in a new location, I recommend right-clicking and opening the link in a new tab for all of the items that you want to add. Now, say that my item does not exist. Maybe I'm selling a custom hat and a custom sweatshirt. To add a new item, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to create items. This is going to be where you can add all of the items that you are going to be selling. So if I am doing a ball cap, maybe a blue ball cap, I'm going to use the customer facing name, blue ball cap. So if you've got an internal name for this blue ball cap, maybe it's blue ball cap dash Nike versus blue ball cap dash Adidas, because you sell both brands. The customer is going to equate this to whatever that is. So if my blue ball cap has the team logo, I could do logo blue ball cap. So make it something that the customer can relate to when you're naming this, because this is going to be what the customer sees. Price point. This is going to be the price of your hat or your item. SKU. Every SKU needs to be unique. If you're using your existing SKU, so maybe you've got retail point of sale and you're creating a mobile order menu as well, you can cross-utilize your SKU. So if the SKU in your team shop right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this blue ball cap too, because from a reporting perspective, you want them to be in line with one another. I'm pretty sure I already used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'm going to do 6, 7, 8, 9. Special type, pretend it's not there. You will never have to do anything with special type when you're configuring items. If anything from special type or from this dropdown you think is something that you think will apply to what you want to do, email help@VenueNext.com. Let us do it. The reason why I stress this is because a lot of this functionality during the life cycle of VenueNext and Canopy, we have improved a lot of things when it comes to Canopy and how things are presented to customers. So with improvements come depreciation, or in a lot of cases, retirement. A lot of this functionality you will see will be gradually retired throughout the course of the remainder of this year and next year. So if you have questions about any of this, let us know before you do it. I know, you might want to be proactive to see if you can figure it out on your own. There's some of these functionalities that don't work as expected, and some of these functionalities work different than what you would assume would happen. Location. This is going to be where you are assigning the item. So if this blue ball cap is going to live in both retail and event retail shop, remembering the steps that we took on the previous page where we opened up that new tab and checked those boxes, that's how you can assign an item that you're building to more than one location. In this example, I'm going to assign it to the event level retail shop. Now, I am going to show you one thing that is a very common support issue that we get from our team, our customers. Look what happens when I hit submit. Notice I'm not checking this box here. I get an error message. This is what happens when that menu is not checked. This is expected. Do not panic. Do not hit the refresh on your page. On your browser, hit the back button twice. I'm sorry, 3 times. I'm sorry, once. I'm used to counting the different back buttons. Even though when you get back to this page, you're not going to see that option to check the box, if you toggle the locations, the box will come back. So this prevents you from having to work twice. So I'm going to check my box and hit submit. Notice that I have a green item successfully created message at the top. And now my create items box is blank. This is expected. This will refresh for as many items that you're building. So if you're building 100 items, this will refresh 100 times. If you're doing something with different sizes, so I brought up a sweatshirt in my example. So if I'm doing a team logo sweatshirt and I want to sell it in different sizes, my team logo sweatshirt, say this is my small, and I want to do small, medium, and large. I'm going to name it this. So I can identify the small from the large. You can also obviously identify it based on SKU if you guys have a certain skewing that you do. I can then put a price to it, give it its own unique SKU, assign it to my location, check my box and hit submit. So I built my small shirt. Now I need to do my medium shirt. So I'm just rebuilding it. Instead of small, I'm going to do medium. I'm labeling it as $30. I'm building a unique SKU, adding it to the location, checking the box. And then last but not least, my large. Nope. That was my fault. Giving it a unique price, giving it a unique SKU, and adding it to the menu. The SKU, if you're not using existing SKUs, please make sure that you're actually you have a SKU scheme. We've got some SKU best practice articles on our website in support that I recommend everyone take a look at if you're trying to figure out where to begin when it comes to creating SKUs for the first time. But if you've got pre-existing SKUs, use that pre-existing SKU. Also make sure it's not duplicate. So I'm just adding it in. So I am done building my items. So once you're done building your items, go back to merchandise and you go back to global merchandise items. So now I'm going to see all of the items I just added in. The other thing I'm going to call attention to is how you can maintain each item. So obviously team logo sweatshirt small was just built. Maybe I have an image I want to add. This icon on the left-hand side, when you click on it, will populate an import or upload window. You will need to upload the image in the menu list file and the menu detail file. Both of these are required for the image to show on your app and VenueNext. The image size we recommend is traditionally about 750 by 492. However, I will send over our menu image asset guide for you to review prior. When you are uploading your images, let me show you an example of what the images will look like once they're uploaded on. So when you are uploading your images, you also want to keep in mind that when you're looking at the image, it will potentially be cut off. And when you click on the image, I'm just giving them my seating information really fast. It'll be zoomed in. So if you're putting any kind of text in, you want to make sure that the image is centered. Give yourself enough headroom. So try to center it as much as possible so that way you don't run the risk of it getting too close to being cut off. So see this glove right here? It kind of cuts off. The actual glove size shows the entire, or the actual glove image that we use show the entire glove. So Just kind of keep that in mind when you guys are working with your marketing teams or whoever it is that's providing the images, to make sure that the images fit the screen that you're doing and you have enough room. Okay, I'm going to go back into Canopy. So once you select the file, even though you see WebP quality here, it has to be PNG or JPEG. We do not support WebP images to be uploaded. So once you've selected your files, you're going to choose upload file. I'm going to hit this box here. Now, if you want to put in a description, or maybe say I spelled sweatshirt wrong, the pencil and piece of paper to the right-hand side of the item name is going to be how you can update that display name and also the display description. So if I want to say red team logo special edition sweatshirt, I can input it here. We are doing enhancements to our VenueNext pages in our apps. So eventually we will be implementing a display description and a long description. But right now I recommend copying and pasting both and then you obviously hit update once you're done. If you're using this for the sweatshirt, so team logo sweatshirt, you want to make sure that you're using the same item description, because what happens is we use these soon, and we'll go through this in a few minutes, for your sizes. But as you guys turn off items, so maybe I run out of medium and I only have large and small left, it'll default to the display details so attached to the item. So make sure that when you are doing variants, and we'll go through variants in a second, you keep in mind that you have to make sure that there's an image for each size and a description for each size. Price point. If you put the price in wrong, there's not a way to update it on a global level. So if you're doing price increases, we recommend turning this item to unavailable, which is basically going to remove it from the app. It's still technically live, it's not archived. And then building in a new item with the new price point with either the same SKU or a different variation. You can update the item price in the actual menu. But if you are doing a global pricing update, so this is your team logo sweatshirt that you sell every single year without fail, then you might want to consider doing a pricing update if you have to update that price, maybe cost of goods has gone up, or, depending on what's going on, you need to update it or change it. So there's two boxes here. The 21 plus box, unless you're selling something that somebody needs to confirm that they're of age, you do not need to worry about. Discountable. Discountable is if you've got, and it depends on obviously the organization and what you guys are doing, but if you're using discounts and promotions at any point, and discounts and promotions, maybe you're doing a promo code where you can get 5 or 10% off, maybe your season ticket holders get 10% off. If you at any point are going to use discounts and promos, the item that is going to be discounted needs to have the discountable box checked. This helps us, or really helps flag the item to be considered as discountable. So if maybe your team logo sweatshirts are not part of the discount that you're doing for your season ticket holders, maybe it's only for hats and t-shirts, then you can omit, or really honestly just not check the box for the team sweatshirt, so that way you don't get you're not discounting it for those season ticket holders. There's other things you can do with discounts and promos, and I highly recommend attending our discount and promo training after this call if you want to learn more about creating different discounts and promos. All right, so special type, same drop down that we saw in creating the item. We're just going to leave this as is and pretend it's not there. Tax rates, I don't normally run into this with my retail customers, but if you do have two tax rates for some reason, you will input the tax rate in decimal format. If you have one tax rate, there is a location in your venue settings that you can update your price, your taxing in decimal format. We have an article that we'll send your way. When you get to the tax configuration part, send us a note at help@VenueNext.com and we will happily walk you through it because we know how important it is to collect tax on items and properly configure it. So if you have one single tax, so if everything in your store is 7% tax, you do not need to fill out the tax rate here. You can do it on a venue level. Okay, availability. Availability is extremely important. This is going to give you the ability to identify if your item is for sale. So right now, my item, my large t-shirt is for sale and it's showing on my website. So if I went to my site right now and I went into my retail stand that I had that was pre-existing, I would see my shirt and I would see small, medium, and large. Now, if for some reason, there's a couple ways that you can do this. If for some reason you guys run out of your large shirt, you can toggle this to low on inventory, which will then remove the large shirt as an option for customers to choose. It takes about 6 minutes to cohesively go across all the environments. Even though right now it looks instantaneous because I'm on VenueNext, you have to think about a lot of different factors. One of which is if you guys have apps, the speed of a customer's phone, where the customer is in the checkout process. It's not going to make the item vanish. So it might have seemed like it just vanished off my screen, but I had just refreshed. But if I'm in the process of checking out, it's not just going to disappear. And same thing, maybe I've used all my data and my phone's been slowed down, or maybe I'm only using the building Wi-Fi and there's 50,000 fans. That is why we say 6 minutes, because there's a lot of variables to go through to clear. We call it clearing the cache for all these customers to start from scratch. So you might see fans, minute 5 still have that large shirt on their phone. Device, app, phone data signal, speed, connection, and where they're out at in the checkout process are a lot of factors to keep in mind when it comes to this, which is why we say about 6 minutes. The other thing I want to point out is location settings. If you know that your event level retail shop only has 100 size large shirts, you can set up inventory. I'm clearing this out. Always clear out the minimum and maximum item count if you do not require it. If you're trying to limit the customer from something, so maybe it's a free hat and the first 100 people get the hat, you can limit it to 1 hat per order by doing the max count here. But make sure this is left blank. So if you wanted to, you could have this turn off once the 100th shirt has been sold, so you do not overextend yourself. The other thing I want to point out is unavailable. Unavailable is going to cancel an order that has the large shirt on it. So low on inventory turns it off, removes it from the app, removes it from VenueNext. But if I have any orders with that large shirt on it that I know I can fulfill that are still open, I can close those orders. If I accidentally overextend myself with large shirts, so maybe I have 100 large shirts that got sold and I only had 50 that I was anticipating of selling, and I've already sold and closed those 50 orders. If I move this to unavailable, I cancel the large shirt off of the orders for the customers that have purchased them. If you have the order go straight to completed, which is basically sending it straight to settlement, you will have to refund them. But if you are using expedite or order fulfillment, it'll cancel the item or void the item, I should say, from the order. Category. Category is how you make the item show. So if I'm looking at my menu right now, hit my back button, see where it says shirt? This is the category name. Every item needs an item category in order for it to show on VenueNext and in your app. So if you ever build out a ton of items, so maybe you've got, I mean, if you look at what we have 7 retail items that I have built. Well, technically it's more like 4, or really 3, because you have to factor the variants that we're going to build. I only see my shirt. Notice in category, shirt, 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 the items that are showing. But the items not showing have nothing. So even though I said everything in orange and Canopy is a hyperlink, there is one secret hyperlink, and that is category, because for some reason it's gray, but it highlights orange. To make your item show on Canopy, not Canopy, on VenueNext and in the app, you need the item category. To add the item category, so going back to my team logo sweatshirt, you just need to select none, or if you are using reporting categories, which we'll look at in a second, the reporting category name. So under category, I'm going to select none. From here, I'm going to go to manage item categories. These are all of the item categories I have built. So I only have shirt built. So if I wanted to add in a sweatshirt category, I could do add new category sweatshirt, and I could call it sweatshirt. Once I've created my sweatshirt category, how do I add my items? When I click on sweatshirt, notice a box populates on the right-hand side. From here, I can rename my category if I need to. So if I spelled something wrong, this is how I can fix it. Or I can add my items. Manage items is going to be how you can bulk assign your items to the category. So if I go to manage items, I can search by SKU. So I know my SKU started with 0. So notice what happens when I type in 0. I've got 2 of my items that I built that populate. I think my third one, large, didn't start with 0, or maybe it started with 10. Yeah, it started with 10. Or I could look up team for team logo sweatshirt. To mass assign your items to categories, all I'm going to do is hit add. If I accidentally assign an item to a category, this trash can will just remove it from the category list. It will not delete the item. So I'm going to re-add it. So I've created my category for my item. I'm going to hit my back button twice. Now that I've hit my back button twice, if you are going to use reporting categories, so menu category is what we also consider a reporting category. A reporting category would be this. You guys use apparel, accessories, and novelty on the reporting side when you guys are closing out your financials. So even though you sell sweatshirts and t-shirts and hats and keychains and bags, each of them fall under a reporting category. So, maybe apparel, t-shirts and sweatshirts fall under that apparel category. That reporting category is created and managed as a menu category at the top. So if I'm adding in a reporting category here, it's the same process that we just did for item categories. So if I click on manage menu categories, I could go in and add my new category. So if I did apparel, I can create it. I can click on the apparel category, select manage items, and then add all my items in. So sweatshirt, going back to our team logo sweatshirt, adding in the t-shirts that I have, small shirt, medium shirt, large shirt. So all of these fall under that apparel reporting category. So when I run my numbers, I'm reporting my overall apparel, and these 2 are classified as apparel from a reports perspective for me. That is what the menu category, also known as that reporting category, does. I'm going to hit my back button twice to bring us back to this page. If you're doing one-off update, so I just added in my ball cap. So I'm going to go back to global merchandise items. You don't necessarily have to mass add everything, but in global merchandise, my blue logo ball cap, remembering that. If I needed to just add it to one item, I could click on none and I can add that ball cap to apparel. And if I had a hat category that was already created, so say that hat was located under food, I could check that box and add it there. But because I don't have that item category created, what I'm going to do is hit update to save my changes. And I'm going to quickly add in that category. So the same steps we just did, add new category, name our category, hit create. From here, I can select it, go to manage items, and now I'm typing in cap because I didn't label it as a hat. I'm going to go back to global merchandise items. Notice that there's a lot of difference, or a lot of changes that just happened. So if you're looking at category, that word none that we were just looking at that was grayed out and turned orange now says apparel. That is because it has a reporting category, or also known as a menu category, assigned to it. And beneath it in black text, you see the item category name. The item category name is going to be what it shows up under on our VenueNext website. So when I go back into my retail website, I'm going to hit my back button. I'm just going to refresh my page because we just made a lot of changes. I'm going to go to that event level retail shop. There are all of my items. There's my shirts, there's my hat and my sweatshirt. And if I click on the little caret, I can see the 3 categories we just created. But notice that my team logo sweatshirt, it shows small, medium, and large. They're not grouped together like it is with the shirt at the top. The reason why is because with merchandise, we rely on variant groups to group together the different types and sizes. So when you have a team logo sweatshirt and you're selling a small, medium, and large, we group them together with variant groups. So then the customer can select the item name and choose their size versus going through and having to individually find each item by their size. So in Canopy, looking at this page, I'm going to scroll all the way down and I'm going to select variant groups. Variant groups is where all of the different sizes can be grouped together under one grouping and one name. So my shirt display name is something that I've configured to say shirt. It does not mean you have to leave it by the item name. So in this case, let's go ahead and group all of our sweatshirts together. So the first step I'm going to take is going to add new variant group. In add new variant group, I'm going to name it. So I'm going to call this my team logo sweatshirt. Notice that I'm not calling attention to the sizes in this naming. I'm just going to call attention to the group name. You can either use the same name twice. So in here, I could do shirt and shirt. So that's what I had done previously. Or I could do team logo sweatshirt, team logo sweatshirt. I could also do size. I could also do size, team logo sweatshirt. If you want to prompt for size, but also call attention to what the item is. From here, I can then go in and I can do, here, I can then go in and add all of my items to my variant group. So if I type in team and I hit enter on my keyboard, I can see all of my different variants. I can see small, I can see medium, and I can see large. Now, obviously, we don't want the customer to see team logo sweatshirt small, team logo sweatshirt medium, and so forth. There is a way to update that. It's not here, but there is a step that follows after this. So I'm just going to hit the little plus sign to add it. Once I've added it, I'm going to create my variant group. From here, I can then select my item and select edit. I can then say small or S if you want, medium or M, and large. Once I do that, I'm going to select done. Now it's going to show small, medium, and large. The reason why we give you the option to update that variant name is because we also know that the name that you built it with is not the name that you might want to call it. So when we go in and look at this, so if I click on this, I can also, if you needed to update at any point, you could go in and hit edit. And then if you want, you could rename it. So if you spell something wrong, you can do that as well. So I'm gonna hit done. So now that I've already done this, we've created our variant group, we've given it a category, and it's available. I can then go into my event level retail shop. I'm gonna refresh. I'm gonna go to merchandise, event level retail, and now I only have 3 items. I've got my team logo sweatshirt. I'm prompting for size, and I can choose between small, medium, and large. And now if I ever turn off my item, my description will remain, my image will remain as well. How we uploaded an image. So if I add this to my cart, I can hit add, view my cart, and I will see that in my checkout screen. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go to merch locations. The last thing I'm gonna show you guys is how to add an image to your retail location. So looking at our example website, notice these images that we have above each location name. When I'm looking at my locations, they're not that pretty. They're missing the image. To add the image to the location in Canopy, you're going to go to merch locations and you're going to go to the service type. The service type is where you can update settings, update stand name, and update your stand image, or we call it your location tout image. So if I go to express pickup, it's deceiving. You would think that the service tout image would be here, but really you're actually going to go to general. And then when you click on upload tout image, you can then choose your image. It'll update and it'll tell you it was successful. It'll probably take about 5 to 6 minutes. But now when I go in here and I hit refresh, I have my fancy event level image. It will condense down when you go into it into the site. So keep that in mind when you're doing your tout images. On your web browser, it'll look different than on your phones. So if we actually condense everything down, notice that the cat is a little bit more visible. It's not as cut off. So when you're doing your menu management, you want to keep that in mind, that everything that you're going to see on your web browser as you're checking is not going to be what your fans see on their phones. We are first and foremost mobile and app. Obviously, you can use browsers for customers to purchase things, but you have to keep in mind that the image is not going to be consistent across the various devices. So when you're checking this, check your phone, use your Android, use your iPhone. You look at it in your app, make sure, shrink down your browser, make sure that the image is not cut off and you give yourself enough headroom. But going back into Canopy, that is going to be how you can add your location image under general location tout. It'll also give you an idea of the size that you need to put in. If at any point, I'm going to go back to service types, you need to rename your stand. You can also rename the stand here. You can also update your stand availability in your service type if you needed to here, or I'm going to go back to merch locations. If you select the stand, you'll see the options above here. So if I wanted to put a weight warning, I could put my weight warning on. The weight warning configuration is going to happen in your service type settings section. So going back into here, this at the bottom is going to be where I can configure my weight warning. So if it's 15 minutes for a customer to get helped, then it's 15 minutes. I'm going to hit save or update. And now when I go to my website, I'm going to refresh my page. It's going to take probably, like I said, it takes between 5 to 6 minutes, but the wait warning will show once we refresh it a couple times. So if we had a little bit more time, we would wait this out. But you would see that populate here in red on the bottom right, the wait time. So I'm going to go back to merch locations. So you'll see when I click on here, I can also turn my visibility on or off. So if I don't want my stand to be available, so maybe this event level retail shop's only for basketball and I have a family event or a concert and I'm not selling anything here, I can turn the visibility off on the stand, and then the stand would actually be removed from customer site also within 5 to 6 minutes, depending. Some bigger changes or take longer than something like a menu item update or availability update because of how much goes into it. But that would be how you can turn off the visibility too. You can also control the availability for the stand. Do not go to offer all orders unless you need to cancel the orders for the location. So if you're 100% out of merchandise, you've got 100 orders in your queue, then yes, offer all orders would definitely be free because you can't fulfill those 100 orders. If you've got 100 orders in your queue that you plan to fulfill and collect money on, never go to offer all orders. If you go for offer all orders, if you hit update, you are going to get a warning message and it's going to say this will affect all open orders. If you do, or if you select okay, you will cancel your open orders that have not been closed. Please do not do this unless you know for a fact that you need to. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This training has been recorded. We will be putting this on our knowledge base. So like I said, go to support and you'll find this merchandise training in merchandise Canopy here. And it'll have a star similar to how food and beverage has it set up. You'll see a star next to it when it's the webinar video. If you have any location specific questions after this call, feel free to email us at help@VenueNext.com and say, hey, Jacqueline, I was on your training. Here are my questions. You can also reach out to your account managers as well. We are always more than happy to train. Training is literally our favorite thing to do because we also understand that you guys have a lot on your plates, and watching a webinar might not be the same as when you are in there and adding items and updating items. You might need an extra help, even if you just wanted to do a quick call to walk us through what you were doing or what you were thinking. We always are available. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.